Hello guys, waiting for you all to join. Hope you're doing alright. Not done this for a while. How are we doing? Just got in from work, guys. Hope you're all doing fantastically well. And yeah, we're back again with the first live stream I've done in quite a while, to be quite frank. I'll be honest with you guys, I've enjoyed, and I do enjoy doing the live streams, but I also really enjoy providing you with content. The video I did after the West Brom game was really well received by all of you guys on the channel with my mate. We just did it in his kitchen. We had the mic out, we had everything, and it flowed really well. If you like that sort of stuff, I've got many of my pals who are big Leeds fans who can come on the channel. We can just sit and have an honest chat. I'd also like at some point to be able to sit down and chat. I don't really personally want to do a podcast. I don't want to do that. I think there's enough Leeds United podcasts, and I think we like to stay clear of that because everyone else is in their lane. Those guys can do that. But for me, and I think for us, we kind of want to stay clear of that because there's a lot of good ones out there. And, just leave them to do what they're doing because they're doing a brilliant job. So, but what I would like to do is if any of you guys, if you want to come on the channel, we can sit down. We can sit down in my kitchen. We can sit down in your kitchen. We can record it and talk everything Leeds, just a real chat. So if you're up for that, make sure you smash a like on the video. And as I said, if you don't follow me on Instagram, if you don't follow me on Twitter, make sure you do. Ramblings ALTV, and just give me a little message and maybe we can sort something out. If that's by popular demand, let's see. Right, let's see what's going on. Let's see what is going on the channel. There's only one place to start. I'm going to talk at you for a while. Sorry about the tie, sorry about everything combo. I've just got in from work. There's only one place to start, guys. And, wow. That West Brom game. I went into it and I was shitting myself. I really was. I thought we were gonna get belted. I really did. I thought that QPR game didn't fill me with hope at all, and I was struggling to see where a win was coming on. I actually said in my preview as well that I can't see Leeds getting a 3 or 4-0 for the rest of the season. We were brilliant from start to finish. Completely real chat. Start to finish, it was belting, wasn't it? We didn't get belted, but it was belting. It was an excellent performance by Leeds, absolutely from start to finish. We don't need to go over it in droves really, but I cannot believe how good we were. And I needed something. I did a preview for the West Brom, and I don't know if any of you guys have checked it out. If you haven't, go check it out. And I was so passionate about the preview that week. I was so involved in it. I was sort of giving a speech to the Leeds team through all Leeds TV. I know a couple of them watch it, so hopefully some of them managed to get it. But I was so passionate. I was so terrified of us doing what we've done for the past 7 months, then letting it go. And I needed them to tell me. I needed them to go on the pitch and show some of the people who've lost a little bit of faith that we still are in the top 2, that we still can put these performances in that we've not seen for such a long time. And boy, did they do that. The best performance I've seen in my life. I would put that down as the top one, genuinely. 26 years old and been going to Leeds for about 20 years now. That is the best performance I've seen. And the reason being because from moment 1 to moment 90, Leeds were dominant. We didn't let them in. And you look at the standard of opposition as well, which I think is key. You can talk about the games that you've seen down the years, which have been excellent. Your Chelsea's, the atmosphere-wise, I know we got thumped, but the atmosphere was amazing when Becchio scored that goal. Millwall, okay, playoff semi-final, 1-1. Atmosphere was incredible. But actually going up against a West Brom, a team that's just been relegated, and putting in a performance like that, and with the crowd like they were, that is the loudest I've ever heard Elland Road. It was palpable. It was absolutely on fire, and it was just everything about it was brilliant. Everything about it was Leeds. There's nothing like a Friday night football game at Leeds, and you could just see it. It was just one of those where it was from minute 1 Leeds were on it. From that minute of Liam Cooper winning that header, which he literally, if you watch Cooper as well, he ran about 15 yards to win that header. Ran 15 yards, won the header. I think it might have been above Gale or Hal Robson-Kanu, won the header, and then we started. And then from then onwards, from that absolutely incredible strike from Pablo, it just got better and better and better and better. And we're all talking about it last night, and it just didn't. There wasn't a player. There wasn't a single player who was off kilt that game. They were all superb, and a special mention for me for Tyler Roberts. He was just And he was just on a different plane that night, you know, and there was so many of them on a different plane, you know, him, Click, Hernandez, Bamford, of course, you know, Casilla with his first clean sheet in 10, Cooper and Jansen, absolute rocks against the best attacking force in the Premier League for me. West Brom, where did you go wrong? Well, you went wrong by starting Gale out wide. I'll give you that. I mean, that's like starting the game with 10 men, isn't it? Really, putting Gale wide right. I did not understand that, but it wasn't so much about West Brom being poor. I thought Leeds we blew them away that night. And every West Brom fan I've spoken to, every West Brom fan that's been on the YouTube game, they've said the exact same thing. Obviously, we're in cohorts with social media and West Brom social media, and you know, they just hold your hands up for a performance like that. Now, my rallying cry for this is its consistency. Now, we had that, didn't we, about 6 weeks ago with Derby. After the whole Spygate incident, went down to Elland Road that night, and we were all a little bit, you know, there was a lot of tension, etc., etc. Went down, we blew Derby away, and that was absolutely superb. I mean, two of the best performances. I mean, I've seen 4 incredible performances this season, but 2 of the best performances have come in recent weeks, you know, the last 6 weeks. So the problem with the Derby game is we didn't go on, we didn't replicate it. You know, scrappy wins and sort of the performances started to dip. I'm going to challenge the squad now to actually go out there and replicate that performance that we put in against West Brom. Why can't we do it? You know, we're doing it at the start of the season. We've got pretty much everyone back now, fully fit. Obviously, Kim Aru's a massive blow. Forshaw is a big blow as well. But we've nearly got them all back now, you know, and players that we didn't have at the start of the season, i.e. your Izzy Browns, i.e. your Matthias Bogus, who, let me tell you this, if you haven't watched the 23s, make sure you go check them out at the minute and watch Matthias Bogus. He is an incredible player. He's got a very, very big future, that lad, 17 years old from Poland. What an incredible talent he is, and he is not going to be far away from that first team for the remainder of the season. You know, if we get a 10 injured or one of our 10s aren't performing, I can't see why you wouldn't put. If they're good enough, they're old enough, as I've always said. You know, and what a player he is, what a player. And obviously you've got Izzy Brown once again bagging a goal in the 23s. And a brilliant goal away at Watford as well. So we have options now. You know, we're going into the final hurdle, the final bit of the season with options. So positive, really, really positive. I'm really excited for the last burning embers of the season. But I'm not going to put a delusional cloud over your head, guys. We've got a hell of a lot of tough games coming up. West Brom at home, under the lights at Elland Road. That's always going to be a really tough game for West Brom as well. Us going away to Bristol City, you know, we're going to have to recuperate. We're going to have to adjust our play a little bit, and it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a very tough game. Bristol City have sort of gone off it the past 4 or 5 games, but they are still a top team in this division. What I don't understand about Bristol City, sometimes they'll go on long periods where they're brilliant, sometimes they'll go on long periods where they're poor, and they seem to be going on sort of a mediocre stint at the minute. You know, before these 5 games where they've started faltering a little bit, they were absolutely brilliant. But, you know, since they played Leeds, they've lost 1 game at home. 1 game at home they've lost. You know, you've got to let that sink in. That's a tremendous home record. Beaten by Birmingham a couple of weeks ago, so you've got to think that Leeds are going to go down there and get something. And also, you know, you look at Sheffield United's fixture list this weekend. They play Rotherham, South Yorkshire derby, but at the end of the day, I think, you know, Sheffield United with the best home record in the division, I do think they'll beat Rotherham quite comfortably, to be honest. So I think this calendar weekend, it's all about do not lose for Leeds United. And if we can maintain that consistency, then how brilliant would that be? Because, you know, we go away and we blow Bristol City away, which we've done before. We did it last season. Then who knows? Who knows what can happen, you know? So hopefully we'll be able to do that. And yeah, I'm just going to read some of your comments out now. Hi, Conor. MOT. How do, Conor? Super LUFC. Hi. Hello, Freddie. Hello, Tom. All things Leeds. All right, Ed. Northern Nomad. How do? How you doing, mate? Match on together, etc., etc. Evening, pal. Lee Cox. Afternoon, Leeds United post-game reviews. All things Leeds. What's the suit, mate? Some of us have jobs, Edward. Some of us have jobs, my friend. Clive Bindley. Hi, Conor. Hello. Just got off playing Football Manager. Oh, I wish. What a job that would be, eh? Yeah, and some nice comments here. Jack Good, I think it's pronounced. Leeds player of the season so far. I would have to go with Calvin Phillips for me, mate. Different playing this year, different playing. You saw that against the West Brom, and just nothing got past him. Nothing got past him. Jay Rodriguez, he was coming coming back, trying to draw the Leeds players in, come deep, and he wasn't able to do that. He was trying to act as a little bit of a deep line, or sort of like an attacking midfielder, and Phillips broke him off from that. You know, they brought Sam Fields on a little bit later on to break that up. Jefferson Montero was cutting inside, but they weren't getting past him. They couldn't get past him. He was absolutely brilliant, and amongst a whole host of Leeds players that night who were absolutely superb. J Army, do you think we will win Bristol City, Conor, mate? I think it'll be a massive result, mate, if we get a win down against Bristol City. And the reason behind that is because it's one of those where it's a tough game. It's a tough away game. And I said to Oscar at the start of these last 2 weeks, I said we've got Brentford, we've got Birmingham, we've got Bristol City, we've got Preston, and we've got QPR away. Now, one of those games we've lost. Our away form does need to improve for me. I think we're about the 5th, 6th best in the division. Our home form's on point. I think we joint top with Sheffield United, but our away form definitely needs to improve. It definitely needs to improve. We've had a little bit of a slump with it these past 2 or 3 months. So yeah, definitely that does need to improve. So us going away and getting a result at Bristol City, which we did last season, were brilliant down there last season. And Bristol City weren't far off the same run of form actually. They'd gone into the Leeds game 3 wins on the trot. Leeds went down there, the underdogs, and we got all 3 points and 3 goals as well, 2 from Saiz, 1 from the Sogger. So Leeds were brilliant that day. And it's one of those things where we can go down there and, you know, do something. I really do think we have the quality, and I don't think many teams can keep up with Leeds when we're performing like we were performing against West Brom. But hey ho, Jay, guess what's happened? Bristol City, of course they've sold out. Of course they've sold out. They've sold out their allocation for the first time this season. Got into a little bit of a Twitter spat earlier on. It wasn't really a Twitter spat. I commented on the Bristol City official Twitter handle, sort of mocking the fact that it's the first time they sold out this season. One gentleman responded to me and said, "Yeah, but what about Wolves?" I said, "They're not in our division, mate. Doesn't count. The only teams in this division, you've not sold out to anybody else. Anyone down south, any rivalries they have down south? You know, I'm not talking about the Rovers, obviously. I'm talking about little down south rivalries or anything like that, or other big clubs coming down. They've not sold out, but they've sold 24,000 for the Leeds game. You know, and that's going to obviously be massive from the Leeds contingency going down there at the weekend. We'll definitely have all sold out, as we always do. But Bristol City, of course, they've sold out. And the reason I mentioned that point is because, Jay, what happens when teams sell out? You know, the performance is up. It happens all the time. Lee Johnson was really bitter about the fact they lost last time. Don't really know why. Brownhill got sent off for a stupid tackle. But what I will say about that Bristol City game is Leeds really struggled to break them down. I was at that game, and until the red card was shown to Brownhill, they were really in the game. They weren't creating much. But, you know, they were away from home, shutting up shop, and they were on a bad run of form at that moment in time. I think they were 19th. So, you know, you've got to bear in mind, Leeds have still got to break down. Against West Brom, we were excellent. We were fantastic, and no team can live with us when we're like that. But I also thought West Brom were very, very open. I thought Barry and Livermore looked like they were carrying Elland Road on the shoulders. I thought they were running through treacle. I think they showed their age and the stature and the physicality in that game. They weren't able to keep up with the likes of Roberts, Cleek and Hernandez. I think Bristol City are going to set up very, very differently. And so far this season, I still don't think Leeds have thoroughly cracked that. I don't think we've thoroughly cracked teams that just sit back, wait, and then counter-attack against Leeds. And I think Bristol City will do that. They come out all guns blazing. Lee Johnson's smart enough to know that they come out all guns blazing, they're going to get picked off, as West Brom did. So yeah, it's going to be a very different game. To answer your question, yeah, I do think we're going to win. I think we're going to win 2-1. So look at some of your comments as well. Claudio, Conor, mate, tidy your bed and I'll donate 80p's. Claudio jumping on the bandwagon. Got absolutely no banter for himself. Just jumps on everybody else's. That is a made bed. So, not having that. Emma Gardner, match on together. Hello, Emma. Simon Fell said, sorry if I pronounced that wrong, my friend. Hello, my first time here, match on together. Hello, Simon. Hope you're doing fantastically well. What more is Izzy Brown to do to get 20 minutes? To be honest, Pete, there's been a lot of things going on at the minute with Izzy Brown. People saying to get him in the squad. I certainly did for pride of the West Brom game. But can you change that side now? Can you change a winning side? I'm not 100% sure you can. He's kept the same team from QPR to West Brom. They've learnt the lesson. They've bounced back and they've emphatically battered arguably the best team in the division. The most expensive team in the division. The team in the division with the highest budget, highest wage structure. Best side, let's be right. And we've gone away and we've absolutely battered them. We've handed them the biggest defeat that Darren Moore's suffered in his tenure at West Brom. So you've got to take all these things into account. Izzy Brown getting into the fold. I don't think Izzy Brown would have been right in the West Brom game to get him on. I mean, you saw when Shackleton came on how brilliant he was. My question for you guys, Shackleton or Clark at the minute? I'd go Shackleton. And the reason behind that, he's got more assists and he looks more dangerous in games for me. I thought Clark sort of veered out a little bit towards the end. I'm not sure if that had anything to do with his illness. I don't think it was. But I think Shackleton, every time he plays, he gives us something with either assist, a killer ball. He's absolutely brilliant. And I think Shackleton definitely, for me, is above Clark in the pickings at this moment in time. But back to your question on Izzy Brown. I think he features when Bielsa wants him to feature. And I know that sounds absolutely ridiculous, but at this minute in time, it's as if I'm hoping he's priming him for a certain fixture, because we know how methodical Bielsa is, and I'm hoping he's thinking to himself, do you know what? Sheffield United, we put him in. That's what I'm hoping, because if we don't put him in soon, there was no point in that transfer whatsoever. I know Leeds started paying his wages 6 weeks ago. So, you said that we haven't started paying the wages. We have started paying the wages. So it's just whether or not Bielsa wants to put him in. But for the next game against Bristol City, I would personally keep the squad. That's when Huddersfield went up. That's when Burnley went up. Consistency is key. When your squad depth isn't the best in the league, which ours isn't, we don't have the wealth of, let's say, a West Brom or potentially even a Norwich. Consistency is key. And as I said, Burnley and Huddersfield did prove that. And they did that with consistency. And it's because the squad gets to know each other very well, the starting 11. And I think that is key. They've learned from the mistakes at QPR. They beat the best team in the division, in my opinion, 4-0. So do you keep that squad? Of course you keep that squad. So Izzy Brown, he's going to have to wait in line, unfortunately, I think. Lewis McGuinness, most clinical player for us this season. What a brilliant question that is. What a brilliant question that is. Most clinical player for us this season. I would go Kemar Roof. Yeah. The reason, because, the last 2 or 3 games, obviously, Roof got injured about 3 weeks ago now, and before that, he scored 15 goals for the club. So you've got to say it's Kemar Roof, isn't it? Jay Harrison, the question is, though, Roof or Bamford? That's a really good question once again. I mean, I've had 3 questions now and they've all been brilliant. I would go with Bamford, to be quite frank. Jabe, I think he's a natural striker. I think Roof has to work harder, but I also do like Roof. I think the reason that Bielsa plays Roof, and you've got to bear in mind they were both fit at the start of the season, and he picked Roof. I think the reason he picked Roof was because he's better in this system. He works in and out of the channels. He's very quick. He's dynamic, pragmatic going forward, good on the ball, helps out at the back. And I think Bamford still had to get that into his game, but I think West Brom proved that he will be willing to do that. And he's an asset when going forward. He's an asset at the back with his height. And we saw that he's a brilliant finisher as well against West Brom. 3 chances, two strikes on goal, 2 goals. So you can't really take that away from him against arguably the best defence as well in the division. And when I say defence as well with West Brom, I mean the calibre of play. Hegazi, Odor Abajo, who I still think is a good player. And players like that and players of that ilk, Dawson, who's played in the Premier League for years and years and years. And I thought Bamford gave him the runaround alongside Tyler Roberts. Dilip, hi mate. Hello Dilip. Tom Marshall, 79p. Thank you, Tom. What a legend. Thank you, Tom. And that, Tom, you will go down in history. That's on my stream, first ever donation. I don't expect any, Tom. I really don't. I just do this for the love of Leeds. And I know we bang on about this every time. Whenever there's a donation, I really appreciate that, Tom. But you guys, save your money. Don't give it to me. I don't need, I don't feel I warrant it. But thank you so much for that, Tom. That is really supporting the channel. And anything you ever give, whether it be 2p, 70p, all goes back into the channel. All of it goes back into the channel. None of it goes into our pocket. So just to let anybody know that, MPC Radio for listener. Leeds United needs to be back in the Premiership. I'll tell you what, some of the worst fans in the world. I don't know if that's a compliment or a negative. I'm probably going to take that as a compliment. Clark will play ready, deemed by when Bielsa wants. Yes, Iqbal, definitely. Phone on vibrate when streaming, so unprofessional, mate. Yeah. Apologies for that. I'm sure you can get through that. Simon, no worries, man. Excellent pronunciation. I think I got it right, thank God. What else have we got on here? Thomas Clancy, Douglas or Shackleton? Yeah, wow, what a question that is. Well, we've seen with Berardi, haven't we, on that left-hand side? Berardi can play there before. Now, it'd be interesting to test whether or not Shackleton can play on that side as well. Would I go with Shackleton on that side or even Berardi on that side when you've got natural left footers available? I would say no. The reason behind that is I've always been a firm believer in a left back should be left-footed, unless you're Andy Hughes. But a left back should be left footed. The reason behind that is because you can open your body, you can see more of the pitch. I feel we saw it a lot with Stuart Dallas at the start of the season. When you've got a right footer at left back, you close inside, your body is automatically closed because you're confident on your right foot or potentially your left foot if you're on the other side. Your body closes into the infield, and what managers do, and it's really simple, really, isn't it? If you've got a right-footed player at left back, what's going to happen? They're going to cut inside on the favoured foot. So what managers do is they pack out the midfield because you're going to get, let's say, a Stuart Dallas, a Berardi, a Shackleton playing the ball inwards, and then they'll literally overload Calvin Phillips, they'll overload Hernandez, and we saw the reaps of that. I thought Birmingham did that really, really well at the start of the season, and they overload the midfield, they pack out the midfield, and it becomes really, really difficult. Leeds don't have natural width as it is, so I think Shackleton going left back would really hinder us. And I think, as well, just on your point as well, I think a lot of the sort of cynics towards Douglas, I do not get that, guys. I get it from Wolves season to this season. He's been a very different player. He had a hell of a lot more players around him last season. Let's be right. You know, Willy Bolly, you're looking at Jota, you're looking at Cavallero, you're looking at Bonatini, you're looking at Ruben Neves. All these players were around him last season, so they're going to bring them. When you play with better players, you become a better player. Let's be right. The one thing I would criticise Douglas for would probably be his set pieces. I think they've been pretty poor. But as an overall standardised left back, he's played 23 games. He's got 6 assists this season. So let's be right. It's not a bad return. I don't think he's had a lot of consistency in the side, whether or not it's selection issues or injuries. So when he has a full season, I think, you know, I'll tell you what, look comparably, I think Alioski deserves that spot 100% because I think Alioski's better at the minute, but Alioski's got 5 assists as well, you know, and he's played left wing for a large proportion of this season, so you've got to bear that in mind, guys. You know, Douglas has got the exact same, if not more, assists than, you know, someone who's been playing left wing for the majority of the season. So I think all this sort of degradation towards Douglas is happening because I think as fans, we always need a scapegoat. And when it's going bad, we always need a scapegoat, you know, and that's how we've always been. I think that's how fans are in general, to be quite frank. But yeah, I think, yeah, I don't know. All things Leeds, Alioski, best fullback in the league. I probably disagree with that. I think the 2 lads at Norwich, I think without those, I don't think Norwich, I think without Aarons and Lewis at Norwich, I don't think they are where they are. How good they are going forward and tracking back, as Alioski is, of course, but I think they're nearly into double digits with assists now, the 2 young lads. Scouted by England, and they are going to be next level for me. It's very similar to when Kyle Walker and Cal Norton were at Sheffield United, and those 2 were coming up the ranks, and they were looking at them as a pair of fullbacks, obviously, you know, signed by Tottenham together. But I think Aarons and Lewis are absolutely magic, and I think without them, I don't think Norwich are where they are. I really don't. I think even with Pukki, Stiepermann, you know, Buendia, I think that natural width that those 2 provide and how good they've been, how consistent they've been all season, I think those 2 for me are the best fullbacks in the league. So much choice in the squad now. Who do you pick? Andrew Saxton. Hello, Andrew. From Dan Anda. Yeah, who do I pick? I go with the same squad, Andrew. I really do. And the reason I go with the same squad is, as I say, consistency breeds success. It's something I've always thought by, you know, when I used to play football and when I've managed football teams. You keep the same consistency, they get to know each other's play, they get to know each other's patterns of play as well. And at the end of the day, that is how you breed success. So for me, you stick with the same team, you stick with the same team again, and that's what you do. You try build a team that is going to get you promoted, and you stick with that team. And we've not been able to do that this season, and that's why what Bielsa's done has been so. That's why what he's done has been so impressive so far, because we've had to bit part from everywhere. But the same squad. You look at those squads that are above us. You know, you look at Sheffield United. They've been lucky this season regarding injuries, as have Norwich. They've been very, very lucky with regards to injuries. Hopefully, in this last 11 games, Leeds can stay away from the injuries. It doesn't seem recently, aside from Roof, that we've been smashed with that many long-term injuries. So let's hope, fingers crossed, that Leeds are able to do that. And I would keep the exact same squad, Andrew. Have you heard of Samu Saiz could be coming back, J Army? I have heard that. Would I take him back? Oh God, that's controversial. Would I take him back? Listen, the guy is when he's me and Oscar were having a little bit of a debate last night. When Samu Saiz is 10 out of 10, performance-wise, for me, he's the best player in the league. But the problem with Saiz was his consistency. But what I always loved about Samu Saiz is he dragged 3 players out of the game, so it always gave Click and Hernandez a little bit of space. If you remember when Saiz left the January period, I think Click had a massive, massive dip in form. I think we've only seen that come up a little bit more recently. I think the reason behind that was because Saiz dragged so many players out of the game and Click was allowed so much roaming space and room to shoot. I distinctively remember the Sheffield Wednesday goal. And let's be right, look at the Stoke goal at the start of the season where Samu Saiz plays a massive part. He takes 3 players out of the game. Click's got a hell of a lot of space to deal with and can work his magic, which he did in two of those occasions. I think as a player, I would love him in my squad. I think he's a superb player. I think he's got everything. 2 things I would question would be consistency and attitude. I don't think he's been the same since Newport, Spitgate last season. I don't think he's been the same. Or was that Sutton? I can't remember. It was Sutton on Newport. Sorry, guys. I don't think he's been the same player. But prior to that first sort of ember of Thomas Christensen when he first came to Leeds, I thought he was unplayable, absolutely unplayable. I revert to Barnsley away last season. One of my mates, a massive Barnsley fan, he said nobody has come to Oakwell and made us look as silly as Saiz did last season. I remember those exact words. He said no player, and bearing in mind they've played the likes of Liverpool, Chelsea at Oakwell, you know, they've played all the big teams in the FA Cup there. He said he's never seen a player like Saiz do what he did that day. He was just unplayable. Derby earlier on in the season as well, he was emphatic. I thought he was brilliant. But since then we didn't really see enough. So I'm not sure what's going on. I think Phil Hayes is going to try sort out the contractual agreements in sort of one of his posts so everyone understands. But at the minute, guys, I'm not 100% sure. But would I take him back? I probably would if we could sort his attitude out. But there's a big if there. Will White, what do you think of the new gold membership? One membership, one ticket cap if promoted. Do you know what, the Wirral White? It's quite controversial, that one, and I don't want to put a lot of people off. I think it works both ways. That's all I will say on that, my friend. That's all I will say on that. Sorry if I'm sitting on the fence a little bit, but there's a lot. It's 50%, isn't it? 50-50 on what people think about it. I think as Super LUFC said, people will go down without tickets. I think you've just got to be there. What else have we got here? Clark or Harrison? Oh God, Clark. The reason being, I think Clark's just a quality player. I think he'll really hit the dizzy heights one day, and I do think that. I think, you know, you've got Tottenham, Palace, City all looking at him, European clubs as well apparently, and there's a reason behind that. I think Harrison is also young. I think we always forget sometimes how young Harrison is as well. Harrison's been getting better and better. I thought West Brom again was another brilliant game from him. I still would like to see more from Jack Harrison, I'll be brutally honest. I think when Clark comes on in that second half, I would like to see Harrison start every game from now on. I think he's getting better and better and better, but I would also like to see Clark be brought on for him in the second half potentially. Like we saw at the start when Clark started getting into the squad, you know, you look at your Villas, you look at your Rotherhams. I liked that. I thought that dynamic worked really well. What else have we got here? Stephen Langdale, Conor, will Norwich go up? P.S. Clark will play for England. Yeah, I agree with you, Stephen. Will Norwich go up? I don't get people who don't think Norwich will go up. We've got a certain member of the channel who doesn't think Norwich will go up. I don't. You know, I'd be stunned if Norwich didn't go up. Listen, I'm not an advocate of Norwich. I don't need to sit here and blow smoke up their asses at all. I think their performance was really impressive at Elland Road, and there were so many aspects of it that went under the radar. certain players of ours that they kept quiet, certain little things, certain little aspects and gamesmanship which they were incorporating into the play, which really slowed the play down, getting on the referee and just being absolutely ruthless. And they've done that every time they've played this season. They've got an incredible stat. I think it was since they played Leeds the first time, I think they've got 60 out of 67 points. And people keep saying to me, yeah, well, they'll have the dip, they'll drop off. And I don't know when that's going to be. I'll be brutally honest. You look at the fixtures and they've come through the tough fixture list. You know, they've had Sheffield United really recently, got a result. Played Leeds, got a result, you know. Millwall away, got a result. I'm still trying to think of where this drop's coming from. Their running is very preferable. And for me, the best running of the top four. I did a little calculation on you can do it on sort of an app of how many points they'll finish with, and I actually totaled Norwich at 96 points. You know, they go the way they're going in the beating Wolves record last season for the amount of goals scored. They're currently on 73 goals this season. So I'm still waiting for this Norwich drop off. I don't know when it's going to happen. Is it going to happen with 3 or 4 games to go? If so, I mean, they could have the league already tied up by then. But this dip, I'm still waiting for. You know, I think even if Pookie gets injured, okay, Jordan Rhodes isn't as good, but he's still done it in this division for years and years and years. Get Jordan Rhodes in that squad. I still think he does a job. You know, you've got Stiepermann, who was transitioned from left back to centre, attacking midfield, and I think he has been a revelation this season. He's strong. He was their best player for me against Leeds. You've got the 2 full-backs who are England quality. They're that good. And, you know, sort of the back 3 picks itself. You know, Zimmerman, Hanley, potentially. There's depth in that Norwich squad as well. You know, they're not that far off from the Premier League, guys. Let's be right. A Leeds United squad is not comparable to that of a Norwich squad. You know, I heard so many things from Norwich fans of, yeah, but we've not got that much money. We paid 2 million for him and 2 million for him and 2 million for him. That's regardless. You know, the wage structure at Norwich is much better than Leeds is, and it always, you know, it has been for the past 10 years, because they've flirted with the Premier League so many times. They've been a yo-yo club in the Premier League, haven't they? So they do have a more dominant wage structure and transfer budget than Leeds. That's just a given. You know, they've had parachute payments for about 6 years since they've come down from the Premier League. They've come down from the Premier League 2 or 3 times. Probably equates to about, you know, maybe 5 to 6 years of parachute payments. So it's not really comparable. But when you talk about Norwich going up, I think they're an absolute steam train at the minute. And I think you've got to respect what Farke's done. You know, when we slapped them earlier on this season, everyone was calling for Farke's head. And they stuck with him, and sometimes loyalty does pay dividends in football, doesn't it? They've stuck with him and look where they are now, and I would be absolutely stunned if they didn't win this league. I'm not just talking about promotion, I'm talking about winning the league, because let's be right, guys, when I revert back to the dip again, I don't know when this dip's going to be, because I think even if they have a dip for the next 3 games, let's say hypothetically, they've got a ridiculously easy run in. I think they've played all of the top 6 now. That's done. I think it's actually the top 8. They've got none of the top 8 to play. And I thought the tricky game would have potentially been Millwall and Leeds. I looked at the fixture list a couple of months ago. I thought they'd slip up against Sheffield United. They didn't. Slip up against Leeds. They didn't. Millwall. They didn't. You know, going down to the Den's never easy. But they're just coming through everything right now. So, yeah, I think Norwich will go up. Chris McGowan, I love your videos. Well, thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. I do it for you guys, man. Thank you. Imagine our first game back in the Prem is against Man United at Elland Road. Ooh. Get me there right now. I would love that. Gritting teeth. The problem is with them lot, I don't like them at Elland Road. I don't like them. My old man wouldn't go to Elland Road for years because he couldn't stand seeing red in the stadium. That's how passionate my dad is about it. He couldn't stand them being in the stadium, even if we'd win. How bad is that? He wouldn't have Sharp products. He wouldn't have Vodafone products. We've only just got a red car. My mum's been getting at him for that. What else have we got on here? No championship squad is currently able to stay in the Premier League. Any teams that go up will struggle. Wolves are a rare exclusion. Yeah, really good point there, Michael. Michael S. I had this debate once again last night with the old Leeds TV lot, and we were having a debate about Aaron Moy and Matthias Klick. Now, Aaron Moy playing for that lot, town full of scum fans, the Huddersfield lot. And if you remember that season when Huddersfield went up, how excellent was Aaron Moy. He was brilliant, screening that defence. I remember the 2 games I played at Elland Road, he scored that screamer at Elland Road, and he was just pivotal in everything Huddersfield did. He built from the back, he went forward, he scored goals, got assists, was strong. He was box to box. He was like the Steven Gerrard of the Championship that season. He was epic. And I remember when you kept Moy quiet, Huddersfield didn't tick. Now, Aaron Moy's gone up to the Premier League, and he's one player who I would have thought would have flourished in the Premier League, maybe even got onto a different plane, maybe got signed by a different club, maybe a Southampton, a Crystal Palace, but he hasn't, and he's been poor in the Premier League. He's been really poor. He's been blighted with injury, of course, but he's been really poor when he's had the opportunity to play. Now, the step up, I do feel in general people do underestimate the step up. It's like one of my best mates is a Barnsley fan, and he underestimates the step up from League One to the Championship. But there is a much narrower gap between League One and the Championship to that of the Championship and the Premier League. I see some people online saying that Leeds would only need 2 or 3 players next season to stay up, or 4 or 5. And for me, I can only see maybe 4 or 5 players staying in that entire 22 if you want to stay in that division. I really do. If you want to maintain Premier League status and you want to stay up there and become a club in the Premier League, not become Joe always says it really well. He always says, well, Leeds United, we go up there, we want to stay. And I think it's one of those nice little nostalgic things as Leeds fans. We think to ourselves, don't we? But we've not got a God-given right to be in the Premier League. We've been out of it for 15 years, for Christ's sake. I'm 26. And I can't remember a time when Leeds were in the Premier League. I'm 26. Do you know what I mean? Like that's how long it's been. Your memory doesn't really jog back to then. My memory is, the Championship, League One. A lot of viewers will be like that. You old guard who are watching the video, you're very, very lucky. My old man was lucky, saw everything. He's seen everything. I haven't been that lucky with Leeds. Our generation haven't been that lucky with Leeds. You look at the youngsters now. Claudio on our channel, He's never seen anything else. He's never seen it. He wasn't born when Leeds were in the Premier League. Do you know what I mean? So it's one of those things where we've got to take it as we come. And if we actually get into the Premier League, it's like a new side being promoted there. We're like any other side. It's not like we're going back. It's like we're a new sort of side now because it's been 15 years. Do you know what I mean? So when we go back, we're going to have to heavily invest. We're going to have to invest massively in this squad. Atmosphere won't get us through those games because you look at little mistakes that maybe we get away with in the Championship, you're going to get absolutely punished. I was watching the game at the weekend. Palace when they bagged 3 away at Burnley. They had 3 or 4 chances. Wilf Zaha, Jeffrey Schlupp, players like that who you wouldn't look at and think they're top players, but they're top players and they will punish you. So for me, we would need to heavily invest if we want to be a Wolves. And you look at Wolves, and they are going to be a little bit of a dynasty in the Premier League for me. They will, because now they're just built on money and money and money. So then the question for me would be, would you get Radrizzani selling on, or would there be more of the San Francisco influence that comes into Leeds United? And there has to be. There has to be, because Radrizzani's always flirted with the idea of selling Leeds at some point. He's not money bags, we all know that. But investors have to come in. We have to get some sort of cash influx. Because every club runs on a loss. They do. Clubs run on losses. You look at Mel Morris coming out of Derby, losing 3 million annually. Do you know what I mean? So we will have to massively invest to stay in the Premier League. And if you don't think so, you're in the clouds. Your head is in the clouds for me. You really are, because if you actually want Leeds to be, and we want to get up there, we want to actually show ourselves, staying up maybe the first season, of course, but then building and building and building. On the other side, if we do stay with the current squad, just add little bits of experience, we're going to flirt with relegation. Unfortunately, that's how football works nowadays. It's modern football. You need money. And that's why Wolves are the blueprint for it. Wolves will be in the Premier League for a hell of a lot of years now. Someone's going to clip this out and they get relegated, but they won't get relegated. They've got too much money. And that's how football works nowadays. It's just, that's the cycle. You don't stay in on luck, passion, pride anymore. It doesn't work that way. Football is based on money. That's why, they're still talking about that Super League, which is going to break away. Everything is based on money. So if we get up into that league, serious money will need to be invested into this squad. Let's have a look on what some of you are playing. Thunderbolt Lorimer, Wolves had a loss of 57 million last season. Shit bust or what? No way I'd want Leeds to go down that road. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's one of the things, isn't it? Like, some clubs got hell for leather, and I heard that I saw something today that Wolves were losing $1 million a week, so they were going for it or bust. They'll have been in big trouble if they've still been in the Championship this season. Leeds are doing it in a really economically viable way, which is excellent to see, and it's very rare in modern football. But you talk about Leeds getting to the Premier League, and if you think we need 3 or 4 little sprinkles of talent, maybe Dan James in, maybe James Milner in, and then I don't know, maybe Callum O'Dowd or someone like that, and a Premier League head, and we're going to stay up. Absolutely no chance. It's not realistic. It's not realistic. They're too good up there, and the gap is massive. I saw Palace play earlier on, and I mentioned Palace. I've got a couple of mates who are Palace fans, and the way they move that ball, in person, it's just so quick, and they're so quick going forward. And the superstars, teams like even that have got, it's frightening. It really is frightening. So yeah, we would need to heavily invest, for me, massively. Liam Horsley, our squad is just as good as Norwich, if not better. I'd have to disagree with Liam on that one. I don't think it is, and I think that's why Bielsa's done such a wonderful job this season. He's got a team that's finished 13th, and look where we are now. I think Norwich did have to invest in the summer, 2 million here, 2 million there, and they brought in some real talents. But you look at who Norwich had last season, you look at your Pintos and etc. They don't really feature anymore. But I just think the thing is with Norwich is I think Bielsa's getting the best out of this Leeds cohort, and I think Farke's doing the exact same with Norwich. I would probably say our squad is better than Sheffield United's, but I would probably say it's not as good as West Brom or Norwich's for me. And I think that's money. That's money for me, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Look where we are, and we're on this wage budget, on this wage structure. This team finished 13th last season. They brought 2 real members into this squad who featured all season, Douglas and Bamford, and they haven't, have they? Let's be right. Bamford's only featured bit part in 7 games. Douglas has only played in 22 games so far this season, which isn't the full season. We've been working on a squad that finished 13th last season. So, yeah. Overhauling the squad is the worst thing we could do. If we want to stay up, we will lose our identity and style of play. It's been proven to happen. 5 or 6 signings needed, but no more. Okay. When Premier League is just money orientation. Football wasn't invented by the Premier League. Yeah, and that's what I agree with Wayne. I mean, it's money. Let's see. I'd be stunned if we went up and there wasn't heavy investment. Unless you're talking 5 or 6 players of real quality, standout signings, then fair enough. But if you're going up there and signing sort of journeymen and maybe some of the decent players from the Championship, it's been proven in the past it's not a good blueprint. Look at Norwich, for instance, the classic example. It's not worked. What else have we got here? Bamford, Pablo, Calvin and Click are Prem players as well. I'd agree there, Liam, definitely. Need to look at what Bournemouth did and try copy. Yeah, all things Leeds, that's a really good one. Yeah, Bournemouth are a really good example, actually. They sort of built and brought youth in, didn't they? Your likes of Cook, your likes of Nathan Ake. And they sort of moulded it around it. They've been really lucky with who they've brought in, haven't they? Brooks as well. And they've sort of taken them to that next level. But Bournemouth sort of always had those, your Josh Kings, your Callum Wilsons, your Stanislas. They've always had that. But yeah, I mean, Bournemouth are a regularity. They're an enigma. How well they've done. I mean, Eddie Howe for me is one of the best managers in the country. Top 3 for me. I love Eddie Howe. I'd have loved Leeds at any point, and still, post Bielsa, to get Eddie Howe. How far we will go. Let's say if we're in the Champions League in however many years, whatever manager got us there, we'd like to keep on them. But I would love Eddie Howe at Leeds. If you ever fancied a challenge, that'd be incredible. Do you think Rads will invest Conor, J Army? I think, I don't know if he's quite got the money to do it, Jay, if I'm honest with you. I think there'll be heavy influence from the San Francisco 49ers. I think that's sort of been spoken of on the down low. I thought it was interesting when the Daily Mirror correspondent came out and said that Radrizzani's planning on selling, and Radrizzani came out straight away and said, look, no. But I thought it was interesting because Radrizzani has said previously that, Leeds they work on a loss. We work on a loss. He doesn't earn any money from Leeds. He ploughs a lot of money in, and if we weren't to be in the Premier League in 2 or 3 years' time, this is when he first started, that he'd look at selling it on. So I didn't really understand that. Maybe he was just defending the club, which I can thoroughly understand and respect. But do I think he will invest? I think if he does stay, I think he will stay on if we get to the Premier League. I don't think he'll stay on if we've got another season in the Championship, if I'm brutally honest with you. But if we do get to the Premier League, I think he will stay, and I think we'll get a lot of heavy investment from the San Francisco 49ers. We need to sign James and Morpay. James and Morpay type, invest in the best from the Championship, as we won't be able to invest many in the Prem in the first season. Yeah, I mean, I'd agree with that, just on the basis that I don't think we'll have enough money to be able to get to that next level. And that's what teams going up for the Championship always face, unless you Wolves. They always face eventualities like that, which is unfortunate. Wouldn't want us to do a Fulham, spend too much and ruin young players' team spirit. Yeah, you've got to get the fine balance, haven't you? 100%. Which defenders would you keep? Should we go up? Great channel, mate. Tom G. Thank you, Tom. Which defenders would I keep? Christ, this is going to be controversial. I'd keep Janssen. I think Cooper's had one good season so far. I was always praying on Cooper to have consistency. I thought he's got embers of great quality in previous seasons, but he doesn't show it often enough. I think this season he's been superb from start to finish, a real captain. So I'd say we've got to keep Alder Cooper, really, if we went up to the Premier League. Dallas, no. Shackleton, definitely yes. Douglas I'd keep a hold of. And that probably would be it for me. Eddie Howe suits Bournemouth, but it's total myth. It was done on minimum investment. Yeah, it's a really good point. Bournemouth chairman is an absolute billionaire. They've got a lot of money coming into Bournemouth. I'm just saying, with a lot of their investment, it's not been in the big players. It's been in sort of like youngsters, which I really, really respect. Nathan Ake, Lewis Cook, and who's the other one? David Brooks. I think I love how they do that. I love how they invest in youth, and the youth seem to prosper under Eddie Howe. So what Eddie Howe's done is he's raised the levels of Ake, raised the levels of Cook, raised the levels of David Brooks especially. So to get a man who does that, you don't get many of that, really. As well as the top Championship players, we must look at top Premier League players getting relegated if we were promoted. Connor, did you see that clip of Tom Kerwin and Ben Parker effing up while recording their big match preview? I did, mate. Oh, yeah, I can say some controversial things right now, but probably should keep stum. But yeah, just interesting how we do these things, and then anyway, let's not get into that. Barkers, I agree to a degree, Connor, but we can't go mental. If we do overspend, we'll do a Fulham. If we don't spend enough, we'll have no chance. Yeah, of course, 100%. I mean, what I like about Wolves is how they kept that fabric, they kept that mould. I mean, there's still quality players in there. They kept that sort of structure, and then they sort of spattered around it. That's what I did like. And I would like Leeds to keep the structure, keep the spine, keep the youth, of course. The youth is massive. Of course, we'll keep Robbie Gotts, Shackleton, Clark, etc. Leif Davis, Odo Clark. Of course, and I'd love to see Brown at Leeds next year. That'd be great if we get him on a sign-in. Even though he's not done it yet, has he? But, Brighton wanted him, didn't they? So why not Leeds? Why can't we do that? But at the end of the day, I think it needs to be sprinkled with quality players. And, we've got connections all over Europe, so maybe Radrizzani can pull something out of the hat. Are you concerned about Janssen in the PL with how his attitude and form dips so badly when things aren't going well? Looks to be stroppy, fake injuries. His quality when it's going right, though. Yeah, really good points there, LB_CS. I'd agree with that, yeah. Because he'll get picked off in the Premier League. I think Janssen sometimes has dips, as we've said. He's been much better this season, but Leeds have been much better this season. I think when things are going against the grain, you even look at Huddersfield in the Premier League, you look at Schindler, and and you look at players of that ilk who've come from the Championship up to the Premier League, Aaron Moy, you know, Kachunga, attitudes do turn when things are going badly, of course. Managers, you know, and it's not all going to be rosy for Leeds, you know. Then this is why we've got to enjoy the moment at the minute. But, you know, let's not look too far ahead. I mean, we've still got to get past these next 11 games, haven't we? Would you start using Berardi more? Yeah, I would, but I don't think you should change the fabric at the minute, if I'm brutally honest. Milner will come, Leeds, if we go up. Yeah, that'd be excellent. I think Milner would be a perfect signing, if I'm brutally honest with you guys. Barker's, yeah, Sai's situation has already been discussed. And yeah, I'm going to leave it at that, guys. It's going to be a little bit shorter and sweeter from me tonight. 50 minutes long. It's normally about an hour and 30 minutes, but I feel like I've rattled through a lot of your questions, spoken a lot, and I'm knackered. So I hope you've really enjoyed it. Drop a like on the video if you'd obviously like to see more streams. We've sort of been going in and out of them at the minute, guys. I think, I don't know, some of them improve, like, you know, a lot of you like a lot of them, but some of them they dip a little bit. So I think we're trying to see if you prefer the recorded or you prefer the live streams. We're trying to get a nice medium. So as I've said, it's not just, you know, for our personal egos when you smash likes on it, it's an indication. So we need to understand really if you're enjoying the content. So the likes give us a really good indication of that. So make sure you slap a like on the video. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you do that. And Oscar will be back on Friday. Yeah, we've switched it around a little bit. I didn't really explain at the start. I can't do Friday nights, unfortunately. So Friday night football has now really imaginatively turned to Wednesday night football with me. Oscar's still doing his own Leeds TV Investigates on your Fridays, and our previews are coming out on Thursdays, of course. So my preview will be out tomorrow. I'm sure the lads will too. As I've said, drop a like on the video, guys. Hope you have a lovely evening. And yeah, let's roll on Bristol City. Liam, I've just seen your donation. Thank you so much, Liam. £1.99. I appreciate that, mate. I'm sure we'll have some conversations on Twitter going forward. Yeah, guys, as if you've not seen my previous video on Joe, Joe's going through a little bit of rubbish at the minute. And I'm not going to get into it because it's not my place to do so. Joe's going through a little bit of rubbish, so if you wouldn't mind going over, showing him some love. Me and Oscar are supporting the channel at the minute, as well as the backup of Claudio and Tasha, who are always instrumental in what we do. But Joe's going through it at the minute, and you know, family and health and friends always come first. So go over, give Joe a little bit of loving. And yeah, we'll be carrying the mantle for you guys from now on. So Monday Night Football will be covered by me and Oscar as well. So make sure you tune in for that, guys. I hope you're all absolutely doing fantastically well. Make sure you get your predictions on the video below. Like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you in a bit.